just a bloke in a bar.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Pack Her Up, boys. And that's right, as always, it's been a long week at work. Just pack her up, put it in a box in your mind and enjoy your weekend. You've been working all week long. You don't need to take it home. You don't need to take those stresses home. So make sure to cruise on home. Grab a case of bloke beer if you want to. If not, all good. And enjoy your weekend of rugby league. Don't forget, guys, bloke spray jackets. Basically, sold out in every size. Small, there's like 2 smalls left. And then 2XL, there might be 2 left. But then 3XL and 4XL, there's about 10 each left. Once they are gone, guys, we will not be doing those colours again essentially for years. They are the OG colours. At the very least, we won't do another spray jacket for minimum 12 months. Minimum and maybe 24 months. But what I do know is the OG colours, they're not coming back for years at the very least. So go to bloke.shop, grab some. But outside of that, Matty, how you been, bro?
I'm good. I'm in the midst of 30th season as of like all my mates are turning 30. So when you get a free weekend, you really have to take it with both hands. And this is one of those weekends. And I am so keen to just sit back and do absolutely nothing this weekend.
When you say free weekend, as in you haven't been going to what parties and that, or what?
Well,
what does that mean?
Like everyone's got a 30th here, or we go away for a 30th there, and then there's just always something. There's just something on every weekend. Like, and this weekend being Father's Day helped, but
is it Father's Day this weekend?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. Would this be this would be your second technically, I guess. Yeah, it would be.
Yeah, true.
I'm guessing you didn't celebrate it last year.
Yeah, no, I'm sure the wife did something for me, but I just don't remember it.
Yeah. But anyway, full weekend of nothing this weekend, so there's some good games coming up, so I'm keen as.
Oh, well, anyway, I got my tickets for the weekend. Man, so basically what happens is, last time I sat on this Pack Her Up, boys. We sat on, waited to get the tickets. It kept refreshing, kept going wrong. Old man yells at clouds, doesn't understand technology, even though I do understand technology. Anyway, so we finally get our tickets last time, and I am stoked. It's the weekend. It's like essentially my all-time favourite singer. Maybe him and Craig David are goats. But I might even make the argument that he has overtaken Craig David. Anyway, so get the tickets. You were there. You witnessed it.
Yeah.
Then a few weeks later, or maybe a month later, he cancels a tour. Not cancels, sorry, postpones, and basically says, you can keep your tickets. When I come, you'll be able to come to the show. Anyway, he eventually cancels it. Yeah, so basically, like, I didn't know that he cancelled it so that we actually got a refund. I didn't know. And then he re-announces that he's coming out to Australia and basically gives a week's warning. So he re-announces, I get back on, I have to re-buy my tickets, I repurchase my tickets, and I think this time around it was more expensive.
Oh, really?
So I've got my tickets, I'm stoked as anything, I got my tickets. This is how you know you're old, is when I'm no longer in the stand-up section, I'm in the sit-down section. I tell you what though, I'm just going to manifest this. I don't know, look, this is a tiny shot, a minuscule shot, but surely there's someone that listens to this podcast that has something to do with the company that's bringing the weekend out here. Dear baby Jesus, let's all say a prayer. Dear baby Jesus, if you could just get me somehow, some way to meet the weekend. If you've got a CD, an album you want to promote on Bloke Network, if you've got a tour you want to promote, look, I'm willing to exchange promotion to hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people for the chance to meet the weekend. So I'm just going to, dear baby Jesus, please allow that to get out. I'm going to manifest my future. Allow me to meet the weekend, because that would be incredible. Surely, because a lot of people are going to think I'm crazy. You won't know what it is until we announce it later in this year. But I have actually manifested my future before on this podcast. Very cryptic, but you wait until either end of this year, most likely next year, and you will see what I manifested. We basically manifested it, and then randomly a few days after the podcast, we got an email from the place that we manifested it from, and it was all just a joke. Like, it was a joke that we did, and then certain things got put in place, and then a dream came true, but we can't say what it was yet. It'll happen either later this year or early next year. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm praying to dear baby Jesus, please let me meet the weekend. If anyone knows someone or whatever that is, because it has to be an Australian business, correct?
Yes. Yep.
They're bringing him over.
Yeah.
So look, Do I have a platform that reaches hundreds of thousands of people? If you've got tours that you want to promote, whatever it is, please. That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking.
That's so funny. Like, I think
people right now listening think I'm crazy, but I'm not being.
Oh no,
we manifested this before.
We have. It is kind of different. This is the first time I've ever seen you, and credit to you actually. It's your podcast in 4 years. Like any kind of self-promote for selfish reasons ever. So
because hey, listen, as I said, that like. This is an all-time thing for me.
Yeah, no, I can tell.
So, yes, look, has it been, I've been doing the podcast for nearly 9-10 years now. First time I may use it for selfish reasons.
Yeah. Fair enough. And we all were there for the journey when you tried to buy the tickets last time, which was a
exactly. And I've proven on here, literally on camera, that I'm a super fan.
I think it's fair. I think it's passed.
Any artist could be coming out to Australia, and I wouldn't really mind that much. But the Weeknd for me, he's the GOAT. Right now, like Craig David, maybe it's a nostalgia factor.
Yep.
Because he's born to do it. CDs, just slaps after slaps after slaps. But the Weeknd for me, the way, like I wasn't on the bandwagon of the Weeknd when he first came out. I only got back on that. Like I knew about him, and I knew one of his first songs was called Wicked Games, which is like one of the greatest songs ever written. Because the beauty about The Weeknd is that he actually was the first to introduce almost dark R&B, where like R&B before The Weeknd came along was very much like, like lovey-dovey and I'll be there for you and, please take me back and I will, worship you and all that kind of stuff. That was R&B, which I like. I like the classic R&B. It's romantic. But The Weeknd was the first to almost do like real R&B, where an introspective kind of like, like I'm using you and I'm a bad person. You should stay away from me. I'm caught up in the nightlife, parties, drugs, sex, all that stuff. And so R&B hadn't really seen that before. And so when he came in, matter of fact, he was so mysterious The Weeknd. People thought it was a band when he first started. And so the impact that he has had on music is historic. It is historic. And what's even crazier is for him to have gone from homeless all the way to the world's biggest pop star, because he's got the most streaming listeners, all that kind of stuff. Like he actually numbers wise, streaming wise, I think competes with Taylor Swift. At the very least, I know that in some numbers he beats Drake. That's how big he is. Maybe not Taylor Swift, but some things he does. For example, Blinding Lights is the most biggest song of all time, I'm pretty sure. And so, I'm using the podcast for selfish reasons. I did it. I'm a bad person, okay? I admit it. I'm a bad person, okay?
When's the concert?
It is, I think it's October the 22nd.
This October?
Yeah, so that's what I mean.
Oh my God.
It's like soon, because what's happening is he's in the middle of a second. So what brought him to fame was his original trilogy, and it's a trilogy of essentially mixtape CDs or whatever.
Yeah.
So 3 different albums, but they're all like interlinked together. It's called it's like a trilogy.
Yeah.
And so he's actually in his last trilogy of a new era. So he came back, he had 4 or 5 years off. He came back, have After Hours, which was like what's like just rocketed him into superstardom. Then he had Dawn FM, and then he's got one more album left in the trilogy, but he needs to, he hasn't completed that yet. He hasn't released it yet. On top of all that, he is retiring the moniker The Weeknd.
Right, okay.
I think moniker is the right word to use there, but he's retiring the name The Weeknd. So after this last album, he will no longer go as The Weeknd, because that's a character to him that he feels he is no longer, because he's older now. He's not, when he came up with the name The Weeknd, he's like an 18-year-old, party boy.
Yeah.
He's like 35 or whatever now. Like he's a grown man. He probably has some other interests. He's matured, and you can actually see it in his music. Like what people really like about this era of stuff is he's almost reflecting back on the bad days where he was you could argue a bad person or treated women poorly. He's almost reflecting back on that now, going, I've grown and I've seen my error of my ways, very introspective. And so, I'll just check when he is The Weeknd in Australia. But what were you checking before in regards to his
I was checking streaming things. I do remember that though, that it was something to do with the most monthly listens on Spotify or something. Yeah, that was it. It was the most monthly listeners ever on Spotify at one point. So it was 113 million, and he broke his own record.
Yeah, so like he is genuinely a superstar. And I think it sounds weird saying this, but like almost people think Taylor Swift, they think Drake. They actually don't realize that The Weeknd is just as big.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just like trying to look at the tour dates.
Maybe
October the 22nd and 23rd. I'm going October the 22nd at Accor Stadium.
Wow. That's such a quick turnaround for a concert.
Well,
I guess
he would have already had everything set up.
Everything's planned.
To a degree, planned. They had to cancel. And I think the reason, he hasn't said it though, I think the reason he cancelled initially was to work on his third album. And I think like these artist kind of people, when they get in that mode, you don't want to miss it. Yeah. So like when you start creating and you start, oh shit, like this is hitting and this music is really working, you don't want to go, oh sorry, I got to go on tour now. Like you want to make sure that you get. It's like, how many times have you been driving in the car or like just walking, running, whatever it is, and you have this really great idea and you're like, oh, that's such a good idea. All right, yeah, I'll think about it when I get home, or I'll write it down when I get home, and then you never think about it again. You know what? I've actually got the perfect example, and this is going to sound silly, but I looping back, I went to Mudgee on the weekend, and we were driving up there, and I thought of the best Instagram caption for the next day. I'm like, sweet, I've got it, and I announced it to the car. Anyway, I got time to post the next day, and I was like, what was that? And I asked everyone in the car, they're like, no, forgot. Still don't know what it is. Still have no idea what it is. You know what I mean? So when you're in that flow, you got to write it down. Yeah. You got to, just so anyway. I mean, obviously, I'm being a bit facetious in regards to like, please give us a crack. But if it happens, but if it happens, obviously I'll be stoked. Yeah. Obviously, I'll be stoked. And I can't wait for everyone, for you guys to see what else that we. Oh, me too. What else that we manifested into reality. Yep. It is so left field. You're just going to be like, what the fuck is so? Regardless, I'll be there. I'll be there enjoying it with my wife. The 22nd, can't wait. So the sit down section, we actually, when we first went, we would go to quite a few concerts. We went to Shawn Mendes. Man, Shawn Mendes was a gun. Went to Post Malone, it was good. Went to Khaled, was a bit disappointed, if I'm being honest. He just doesn't have the presence yet, I don't think, Khaled. And his career, when he was really hot, he hasn't really hit the same heights again. Went to Blackpink, which is like a K-pop band, and that was hectic. Like it was like a friggin' festival. It was crazy. What else? I think that's all of the concerts. Have you heard Post Malone's new album, the country album? Yeah, I'm not. Post Malone lost me. Oh, really? Yeah. I love Beer Bongs and Bentley. Yeah. Tried to get into the next one. And then I'm just not. First of all, I'm not a big country guy, but I just find it like a bit weird that 3 albums ago you were full on, hip hop, kind of pop melodic rap, and now country has become hot, and all of a sudden you're a country singer. Like it's just a bit weird for me. Yeah, fair. And I don't begrudge anyone. You can sing whatever you want, be in whatever you. But for me personally, like following that as a fan, it's like it's just strange. Yeah, I was never really the biggest Post Malone guy, to be honest. And I'm not really a country guy either, so I can't explain why I like this album. But I've been smashing it. Well, country is huge now. It's like killing it. Yeah. So there was a period there where hip hop was like become the most dominant genre. And now rap and that is really struggling, and as in really struggling compared to what it was. And now country is just booming. And that's where I just like, with Post, like I used to like Post Malone because he was this like nerdy kid that liked hip hop and all that kind of stuff. And I think a lot of people could relate to that, like that were nerdy white kids that loved hip hop, but he had his own version of it. And so it was like a really kind of unique twist, or like his version of hip hop or whatever. And then, so like if then he's like slowly moved into pop, which I was like, okay, pop's okay. But then into country. Now, some people, a lot of Posty fans will say, well, he grew up in a country like that was his culture or whatever growing up. But it's like, well, if that was the case, like why? Like put it this way. Imagine, we met each other 5 years ago. And I really, like I dressed hip hop and everything. Yeah. And then 5 years later, you met me and I was dressed like a cowboy. I'd wig out a little bit. You'd be like, bro, when I met you, you were dressed all hip hop and now you're dressed like a cowboy. Yeah. There was those, and it actually probably proves your point a little bit that people in school did this, but people that like jump fad to fad in school, Yeah. And it just,
But obviously they're kids. They're allowed
look,
to do that.
look, I get it. As a pop star, or at the end of the day, it's a business, and whatever genre is hot, I guess jump on it. But for me, it just, I don't know, like that. That's where I was like, he's a bit of a chameleon, and like who is the real postie? Who is the real postie?
It is interesting though. You've probably seen it, but he tweeted in 2015. By the time I'm 30, I'm going to be a country singer, and he's 29 now.
Well, yes, but did he tweet that hoping to be a country singer? But then that didn't work, so he used hip hop. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Look, I'm not a Post Malone person really, so I don't really know his story that much.
Yeah.
But I just know he's jumping from genre to genre. And
Look,
this is the one I actually like.
And I think, like, I'd love to know country fans because
that's what I want to know
because
too.
I reckon country fans are sitting there going, "Hang on a sec, bro. Like, so you're going to come into our genre." And like just now, all of a sudden, you're a full-on country dude.
Yeah, if Ed Sheeran started rapping, I'd be like, hang on.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Like, as in...
Maybe not Ed Sheeran, but you know what I mean.
Ed Sheeran, he has rapped before, but not like in a way where he's trying to be a hip-hop artist.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I just thought of the least hip-hop guy I could.
Yeah, because, so he, like, for example... Post Malone has sounded country before. You can hear it in his voice.
Yes.
It's a country voice, and he grew up in it. But he's never tried to be a country artist until now. And I know you could go back, well, hang on a sec, before he went to hip-hop, he was in country. I get it. It's just for me, it's a bit, I would love to know what country fans think. Because all I know is, if I was a country fan that loved like genuine country, like people that live and breathe country, and someone came in and just started singing country because it was hot now, I would be like, hang on a sec, like what the hell? So the thing is, at the end of the day, Post Malone seems like a pretty good guy.
He does, doesn't he?
He doesn't seem like a dick.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem like a dick, which I can always respect. And he's so talented.
He's so talented.
Like super talented. Because the thing is even when he was in his biggest hip hop era, you could find videos of him singing country songs, like remakes and shit like that. So I wonder whether he was always country and he took a detour into hip hop because that was popping. And then he went back to his roots now, and now he is who he truly is. And people go on those journeys, like sometimes you don't realize who you are until you're like 30.
Yeah.
You don't actually go, you know what, this is, that's the whole point of growing up, is like genuinely finding out, like, who am I? Like, what do I stand for? What do I like? What do I don't like? What have I been scared to like because I'm scared of people's opinions of me? Now that I'm old enough, I don't give a fuck what people's opinions are of me. So
the biggest one of that is MGK. He was a rapper, and now he's a freaking...
He's almost in between. Like, he's alternate rock.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, that you mentioned him, is that the alternate rock scene fully rejected him when he tried to come into it. Even though he wrote a couple of decent albums. MGK's a decent one. Another one, like, the only difference with MGK for me is, like, he seems like a dick.
Yes.
But he is super talented.
Yeah.
Like, some of his music that you can find on YouTube that isn't actually on his albums is super talented. I reckon Post Malone's probably more talented. But MGK, like, the fact that he can rap the way he can, but also his singing voice isn't great.
His singing voice isn't great. I don't rate him, to be honest. His lyrics are pretty they're palatable. But
I think he's super talented. I just struggled with him as a bloke. He just does. He seems like a bit of a dick.
Yeah, and the whole Eminem thing. You're just like, oh.
Yeah, I mean, that was just, I don't really care about that. So yeah, like, it'd be interesting to see Post Malone. Beer Bongs and Bentley for me is his best album.
Yeah.
Sickest album.
Yeah, I don't know his albums. But,
Absolute classic album. Not a classic. Classic's too far, but it's a bloody good album.
I think he's dabbled in a little bit of screamo as well.
Has he? Oh,
he's pretty like, that's not my thing, but I got told that he's quite versatile.
But anyway, there you go. There's your rundown of the pop stars. But yeah, I cannot wait. I'm so excited to see Weeknd. All jokes aside, with the whole, can I meet the Weeknd? Just what an experience to see one of the world's biggest pop stars.
Yeah, for sure.
At the height of his fame.
And it's funny, kind of dovetailing off to algorithms. I have no interest in seeing, and they won't even come here, but the whole Oasis thing of their comeback. I don't know any. I know like 5 songs, but I just got into this YouTube dovetail like late last night. Man, like the definition of just like rock and roll stars.
Oh yeah,
It's so sick to just watch their videos.
They're the kind of guys that like you don't really know. Like if you hear their songs, you'd be like, oh, I do know that song, but you couldn't just randomly name them.
Yeah.
But when you actually go back and listen to them, like their songs, holy shit!
Yeah.
Like we're talking class. Like when you say the word classic,
Yeah.
that's what you mean.
Yeah, like A-list. Yeah.
Like you could listen to that song in 50 years and it is still as enjoyable.
Yeah, timeless
as it was 20 years ago. So like, whereas a lot of music we listen to, when you listen to it in 5 years, it sounds dated. It sounds shit. It's like, oh my God, that was of its time. It was trend hopping. Whereas when you listen to like the Oasis music, especially like their classic, their best hits, whether it's 1,000 years, 100 years or whatever, it's always going to sound good.
For sure.
It's always going to sound good.
And they're like, I watch a lot of their like concerts as well, just their stage presence. They're the real deal.
I wonder how many records that's going to break in regard to like. I wonder what the general like age will be for the concert, because you'd have to assume it would be older.
You'd think people in there,
But you just never know whether, is there are the younger crowd more open to the older generation of good talent?
I reckon they're mainstream enough that you'll probably get a bunch of young people.
No, I do think young people go. What I'm saying is, what will be the biggest demographic? Will it be young people that are willing to spend the money to concerts to see this iconic band, or will it be old people, 40 to 50 years old?
I think it'll be 40 to 50.
Older people, I don't mean old people.
Yeah, it will be 40 to 50-year-olds for sure.
I wonder because, there is a bit of a trend with some of the younger kids, it's almost hipster to like not what your parents liked, but you know what I mean? Like maybe even the era before it. Because like if you're 18 now, I'd assume that Oasis is a generation before that. So it'd be interesting to see what they do.
Yeah, they broke up in what? 2009, and they were biggest in late 90s, early 2000s, I think.
Oh man, how good. It shows you how iconic you are that you can break up in 2009 and then say you're getting back together in 2024 and it essentially breaks the internet.
Yep.
Like
Crazy.
I don't know that any of their CDs or anything. If I hear Wonderwall or whatever, Don't Look Back in Anger or whatever, I'll be like, oh, that's an Oasis song. But I don't know much about them at all, and yet I'm still intrigued as to what's happening.
Yep, I'm the exact same.
Just crazy. Don't forget, guys, Sportsbet feed Bloke Multi to score against their future club. So this is the Bloke Multi. It's to score against their future club. It's Lomax versus the Eels and AFB versus Sharks. Anytime try scorer. Lomax versus Eels, AFB versus Sharks. It'll be $5.70. So that's the Bloke Multi. So you can copy it from my feed bet, or you can just go to NRL Weekly Hub. You can copy it. Give us a follow on the feed, guys. And always a thank you to our friends over at Sportsbet. And always make sure, guys, to gamble responsibly. Don't gamble more than you can afford. Just a little dabble here and there. That's it. I'll have my feed off. I've got a bunch of multis on at the moment. Just a little cheeky $2 or $3 bet, nothing crazy, on my feed that you can go and copy. Just a cheeky $1 bet. Sometimes I just chuck cheeky little $1 bets. It's just for the fun of it.
The game, yeah. My future brother-in-law, he does the exact same thing. He loves betting so much. And like he's not short of a dollar or anything, but he just likes the analytical part of it and just puts on $1 bets and just records it to see if he's up or down.
Yeah, it goes on. I never go silly. Like I just use little $1, $2 bets just to enjoy it, or just $1 bet sometimes. But as always, guys, gamble responsibly, and a massive thank you to Sportsbet. Give us a follow on the feed. It takes 2 seconds. You go to more, you go to feed, boom, follow Bloke in a Bar, Denon, and you can see what I'm punting on. The Cowboys defeat the Storm 38-30. The funny thing is like all the talk after that game is about the Storm.
I know, right?
No one's talking about the Cowboys.
Yeah, all the talking points of Melbourne. It's crazy.
It's about the Storm, and I guess rightly so, because the Storm went up there away from home without 11 of their players. And funnily enough, people don't, maybe they do realise it, but a lot of people don't realise it, is that Bellamy was actually the first coach to be the coach of the baby Broncos back in the day. So, for younger people in rugby league, the term baby Broncos was coined because during Origin, basically Bellamy, assistant coach to Bennett, took a young as hell side and beat, I think, the Tigers or something like that.
I think it was the Tigers, yeah.
And like it was such a shocking affair. Like this young side that a bunch of reserve graders and teenagers, and they touted, or they were called the baby Broncos. And Bellamy was a part of that. And so he almost did it again last night. 11 starters out. Granted, they still had a few of the key players in, but like not only did they have 11 starters out, Pappenhausen goes down, Seve goes down.
So that's a whole team, right? That's a whole starting team right there.
It's 13. And so, yeah, goes up there, nearly gets the job done. At one point, I thought he would get the job done. The Cowboys started terribly.
I thought a couple of times Storm were going to get him.
Crazy. And so right now, the Cowboys, they're on 34 points. They've played 23 games, obviously. But if they win their next game, what is their differential? Their differential isn't great, but if they win their next game and say Bulldogs go loss, they actually...
Well, they're playing the Dogs in round 27.
So they could actually jump up to 5th. I'm just trying to look. So I saw someone say fighting for a home final.
Yeah. So if they come 5th or 6th, they'll get a home final.
Yeah, okay. Yep. Okay, so basically they need to 31. Well, okay, so Seagulls, they need Seagulls to lose one game.
Yep.
If Seagulls lose one game, they get a home final.
Yep. You're right, because Manly are currently 3 points behind the Cowboys.
And does it go 5th versus 8th, 6th versus 7?
Yeah.
So pretty much, if you're Cowboys, you want to beat the Doggies because you'll land in 5th if Doggies lose this weekend.
Yeah, correct.
No. Even if Doggies win this weekend, because the Cowboys play Bulldogs last round, correct?
Yeah.
So if you just beat the Dogs...
their differentials... So if the Dogs lose...
Oh, because they played 22 games. Sorry. Yeah. So the Dogs have got to lose both games.
Yeah.
So you want the Dogs to lose both games. So this week against Manly and then against the Cowboys, because that puts you at 5th, and that means you're playing probably the Dragons, which is a much more manageable affair than probably the Manly Seagulls at the moment. In saying that, not too much of a difference. But yeah, a lot of the talk is around Melbourne, and rightly so. What an incredible...
They're amazing.
Everything is lining up perfectly. Their depth is incredible. They're in form. And matter of fact, they're in form, but actually I think they can get even better. Outside of the Pappenhausen injury, which we'll get into, like everything seems to be lining up. And what's crazy is like even with the Pappenhausen injury, they got back up in key positions. But the biggest talking point out of that game easily was Wishart.
Oh, unbelievable.
So we got a guy. This is what we got. This is a kind of player. And like, man, I know I'm getting caught up in height right now, but I am trying to think of a player that I've ever seen that 1 week comes on as a front rower, plays well. 2 weeks later, he can come on as a 9 and be kicking 40-20s out of a hooking role. 2 weeks later, he could be playing on the wing. He can play fullback. Like, I can't remember the last time. Like, we've seen players be able to play multiple positions. Have we ever seen a bloke that can come on as front rower but then be kicking 40-20s out of the hooking role?
It's the front rower one that
or like
makes
six,
the difference.
Fullback. He's played fullback. He's played 6. He's played 1. He's played literally wherever, and he's doing it at a top tier level.
Yeah, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, but certainly not recently.
I don't remember a player that's been literally 1 week was being brought on as a front rower, and then a couple of weeks later he's literally playing He's got the 9 on his back, but he's not just playing like a 9 that's just scooping the ball up and passing it. He's playing like a 9 that is kicking 40-20s and scoring 2 tries.
Yeah, it's wild what he's doing. I think you might be right. I'm literally trying to rack my brain. Like there is versatile players, but there's always that one that they don't. Like for example, like Connor Watson's extremely versatile, but you know he's probably not going to play on the wing or in the front row. Like Craig Wing.
Watson's played in the wing. Watson's played come on in the front row every now and then, but like you don't regularly see him kicking 40-20s.
Yeah, true.
What I'm saying is like those delicate parts of the hooking and the 6 role of the kicking game. Wishart has that, which is insane. Like whereas you wouldn't if you put Connor Watson at 6, he's not there to kick the ball.
Okay.
Whereas Wishart, he can kick the ball. These are these fine, delicate motor skills that are usually reserved for very specialist players. He's doing it. Like it's just insane. Like you put Connor Watson in at 9. He's there to don't get me wrong, like he is his 9 play has gotten better and better, but he's there to run the ball and provide service. Whereas like Wishart is there being crafty at a dummy half. He's got the skill set to like hold, so it's just, it's actually amazing what he's doing. And also he, 1 week he's playing fullback, the tries he's scoring in the front row. It really is the resurgence of utilities. And it's not even like a utility. Like you look at, we just mentioned Connor Watson. Like in the same year, we've got guys like Connor Watson and Wishart that can essentially play, every position in the same season. And I know people go, oh, but hang on a sec. Like back in the day, there was this player that could play a lot of play. But I get that. But I don't think we've ever had this much value on a utility. I don't think so. Some people go, oh, it's going to be really hard for the Storm to keep Wishart. See, I disagree. I think that clubs are now looking at 14s and going, it's such an important role in this squad. It's no longer seen as a bench spot. It's seen as an important role where we are willing to pay more. For example, let's say you got Wishart. Let's say you normally back in the day, because you're a utility, we're going to pay you minimum or like 200 or 300 grand. Let's say you paid Wishart 500 to 600 grand a year to be your 14. We know the 14 is super important, so much so that it swung the entire selection process of a New South Wales side. Like Connor Watson came into the side game 2, it literally changed the makeup of the side, and obviously you went on to win it. So you got Wishart on the bench. Let's say you sign him as a 14 and you pay 500 or 600 grand for him. It's not just that you get a 14 that's really important in today's game, but he's also the backup half for you guys if anyone goes down. So you're already going to pay a young up-and-coming 6 or 7 for 300 to 400 grand to play New South Wales Cup. And so this idea that all these other clubs are going to offer him, 800K to leave Melbourne now, maybe they will, but he might already be on 600K from the Storm. So it's not going to be like back in the day where, at this club you get paid 150 grand, but at this club you get paid 600 grand. In this era, with how important 14s are, the difference won't be that much. Because it'd be different if he was like someone where you'd go, there's going to be someone that's going to offer him $1 million. That's a huge pay grade. But I don't think he's at that level yet where he's going to be offered $1 million. And so I actually think that they'll be able to hold on to him. I think that he makes the perfect 14. I think that you look at Munster and obviously, he played really good last night, but, he's had a few injuries now. He's getting a little bit older. I think that the Storm will be very, very smart in the way they keep him. And also I think that clubs are willing to spend more on a 14 today.
Do you reckon, back in the 80s and 90s, there was the joke that, wingers aren't really footballers, and now wingers are some of the most important players on the field. Do you reckon we could see kind of a change of perception with this 14 utility spot that, it's not a bench spot. It's
that's what I just said.
I know, but
that's already happened. That's what I'm saying. That's had happened a year or two ago. It's no longer a bench spot. It's literally an important role. You don't just go, we've got our best 13 and then now everyone outside of that 13 sits on the bench. No, you might actually have players that are better starting on the bench because of the importance at which their role they play. Like a guy like Spencer Leniu or whatever. He's a guy that has a very specific role off the bench, but you wouldn't say that he is the standard of what he delivers is, he's on the bench because he's not as good as the starting guys.
Yeah.
He's there because he has a specific role. And so, I've been saying for a long time that bench is no longer seen as just lesser players. And I think that's, with Wishart, there's an argument to be made that the 14 role is more important than your center or your winger. In the pecking order of how, you could potentially find guys that can replace your winger, but you actually need a very good specialist 14 that is hard to replace. It's hard to... And so, I've been saying that for ages, that the utility role is no longer just, you're on the bench. And Wishart last night, 2 tries, a 40-20.
Both his tries, they were so different, but so impressive in both ways. Obviously, the one off the scrum was hectic, but the dropout one, just his work off the ball, just being in the right place at the right time, just being available. He's so good.
It's just effort on effort. 2 tries, 52 metres, 3 tackle breaks, a line break assist, 35 tackles and only 1 miss. It's just amazing.
And that 40-20 was so good.
It was so good. So, Yeah, I think that it was a Wishart show, and yeah, I think that the Melbourne Storm will be aware of his value. Like, think about how I cannot express having a guy like Wishart on your bench. It solves so many headaches, and I just keep going back to it. Think about, as a New South Wales fan, how much better you felt with Connor Watson sitting at 14 off the bench. That should tell you how important utilities are. That should tell you.
Well, he could see himself. Obviously, I'm going off really early now, but Wishart, he could definitely, like, this could give him an Origin jersey if he's this versatile.
He should be in the conversation next year. Obviously, Connor Watson, the incumbent, and killed it. But if there's an injury, if there's an injury, Wishart should absolutely be in the conversation. He has to keep up his form. He has to keep up what he's doing. But, mate, he absolutely should be in the conversation. Outside of that, I thought Munster was really good for the most part. He had a couple of it says 1 try assist, but I'm pretty sure he had 2 try assists in the first half. Big concerns with Pappenhausen now. They said a cork, but now they're saying he's going for scans. Jeez, couldn't happen at a worse time for him.
So bad.
Like, I just feel so sorry for him because he's played quite a bit of footy this year. He's got back on the footy field. He's worked his backside off, and it's around contract negotiation time, and boom. And so Melbourne Storm have it seems like they've tried to play it down because they said it's a lower leg cork, but now he's going for scans. And look, in saying that, maybe it's such a bad cork, it's like bone bruising or something. But I did say to you boys, like, not playing with a cork, it's not usual.
Yeah.
I got with a guy like Pappenhausen who, yes, he has played a bit of footy this year, like, most footy. I don't think, like, Storm aren't the kind of team that go, you know what, stuff it, just sit on the bench. Like, if a cork usually doesn't have you sit out a game.
For sure. And obviously, much more than me about it. I thought when he went off, I thought, if it's a cork, maybe they're just thinking, well, we're resting 11. We might as well just not risk him. But now...
But they didn't even try to get him back on there. That's what I don't understand. If it was a cork, you'd at least... Like, he was in his kit like 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes later.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't even sit him on the bench, see how the game went. Like, and I get it. Like, the minor premierships wrapped up, but the more minutes that he plays, the better for them.
Yeah.
Like, it really is.
Well, that's why he played.
And so when that happened, I was a bit iffy on it. And I think that my suspicions may have been... I guess, answered that, hang on a second, it might be a little bit worse than a cork.
Yeah. Well, it's lining up that way, so...
You don't go to get scans on your knee for a cork.
Yeah, nah. Yeah. So...
And the quickness in which they just like, he can sit on the bench. I just reckon that the Storm know if they say it might be something else, the headlines are all there.
Yeah. Well, you know what? They were probably trying to trick people into thinking, no big deal, let's just take him off. And I'm one of those people that probably fell for it, but yeah, you are probably right.
Could be wrong. Could be wrong. We'll see.
I hope so.
I want to be wrong. I want to be wrong for sure, because that would suck.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that would suck. All right, guys, fellas, if you're looking for the perfect Father's Day gift, look no further than Manscaped and their collection of products. Give Dad the right tools to look his best with 2 products, the Handyman and the Weed Whacker 2.0. The Handyman is designed for the dad who can fix anything except the facial hair. It's the ultimate shaver for people looking for a cleaner and closer, smoother finish. The Weed Whacker is for the dads who are starting to show a little too much ear and nose hair. Both these products are cordless and waterproof. Bloke listeners will get 20% off plus free shipping with the code use BLOKE. So use code BLOKE at manscaped.com to get the Weed Whacker or the Handyman, or 20% off the products, guys, at manscaped.com. Support them because they support us, guys. And usually with things like this, if it goes really well, they become long-term partners, and that's exactly that's what we want at this show. We want long-term partners so that we don't have to keep chopping and changing and all that kind of good stuff. So if you're looking for a Father's Day present, Manscaped's got you covered. Use code BLOKE. Now to the Cowboys. Look, I just don't have much to say. Like, this is what the Cowboys has been their Achilles heel all year long. A game where they win 36-30. It's just like, look, I think Todd Payton's probably walking away from that game just going, you know what? Phew, Craig Bellamy came up here. We knew it was going to be an ambush. No matter how much I tried to tell this playing group that's going to be an ambush, that you can't take it lightly. They're not going to listen because of the 11 names that are out. So I think Peyton's probably going, you know what, I'm just going to take the 2 points and just fucking forget about it.
I think
so. I understand. I would do the same thing because what else can you do? But it's just a bit of a trend where it's like, you know, for the whole season, the Cowboys had this problem. They went through a period recently after their loss to the Broncos. They bounced back, looked phenomenal. But then this happens and you're just like, oh, shit, I can't. I just don't know if I can trust them that they can go 4 games during finals footy.
Well, at this point, I definitely can't trust them.
Yeah, like
they've shown that they're so inconsistent. It's
30 points.
Yeah.
Against a team that was missing 11 starters.
Yeah. No, it wasn't great. Like, that left side as well, like, they carved up the Storm a little bit, but there was still about 6 errors on that side. It was, disappointing. Obviously, there was some really, really bad defensive plays as well from a few players. And it's just, that's not gonna fly in finals time.
Just, like a guy like Nanai, it's so hard to be too harsh on Nanai because you just got to, like 21.
Yeah, you forget. I forget all the time.
I forget it all the time. Yeah. And like, you know, so I it's weird because at the end of the day, he has the talent to be better than that. So from that perspective, he needs to sort his defense out. Like he's just got to do it because he has the talent to. But at the same time, then you're looking on the other side and you go, mate, how many 21-year-olds have holes in their game? Like Nathan Cleary at 21, like half of Penrith wanted him gone.
Yeah, I know. That was...
You know, like we're talking about Nathan Cleary.
Yeah.
So if Nathan Cleary has holes in his games, you bloody guarantee another 21-year-old's going to have holes in games. Like, so it's one of those tough ones where as a Cowboys fan, you're sitting there listening to this going, fuck, Kempy, I don't want to hear about the fact he's 21. I want to win comps now. Yeah. I want to win games now. He's a bloody gun. Why isn't he sorting his defense out? But it's like, mate, it's human nature. How many 21-year-olds have a full game that's all sorted? Like Reece Walsh, one of the biggest superstars, still has plenty of errors, still has plenty of parts of his games that he needs to fix up. Like, tell me one 21-year-old right now that is like, has like pretty much a well-rounded game. Like maybe Payne Haas when he came through.
But geez, he's the biggest anomaly of all time.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So like, okay, Payne Haas maybe when he came through, Fafita had certain parts of his games. Even still, there are parts of Fafita's games that need to be worked on. Like, is there anyone you can think of that doesn't have holes in their games at 21?
That literally, there's none. So
it's like, it's very hard to be too harsh. But at the end of the day, the reality is he has the talent for that to be sorted.
Yeah.
We know he can be a good defender. We've seen it happen before.
Well, we saw it. I remember his I don't know if his debut year or his second year, the year he played Origin, and he started the year missing like 10 tackles a game, and then he just fixed it. And we're like, all right, sweet, all good. But now it's kind of crept back in. So you're right, he can improve it. And last night's ones, he just switched off.
Yeah. But even little things like, I really hated the fact that last try that the Melbourne Storm scored, like Scotty Drinkwater just like going for the outside man and not even trying to tackle. I get it. He's a big boy and I get it. Like if I went for the tackle, he'd bump me into the third row. And I'm not expecting Scotty Drinkwater to like try to put a shot on him so he hurts himself. But I do think like that was just in a little cosm of like, that's where sometimes their head can be at defensively. Like I'll take the easy option.
Yeah.
And like Scotty Drinkwater, I know the game was over and won, but it's like at least try to tackle him.
Yeah.
Just you don't have to try and bump him, and then you'll hurt your shoulder because you try to go in for big up. But and that's where I look at the Cowboys and I go, there's so much potential. They just need to sort their defense out. They just need to sort their defense out.
I can't put my finger on it which is a theme with the Cowboys like this year, but they were the best defensive team 2 or 3 years ago. Well, not the best, but I think they were the second best.
They were unbelievable.
Like, how does it all just fall apart like that?
I don't know. It's like, the only thing I think of is like they had such a crazy preseason that year that like they never could do that. They couldn't repeat it because then the next year they came out, they missed finals.
Yeah.
So maybe Peyton was like, you know what, I need to back off a little bit. I'm not sure. And then it feels too harsh on like Scotty Drinkwater and denying that because some of the stuff they do in attack, you just
it's crazy how good they are.
Yeah, like this, like Scotty Drinkwater does shit you just like you cannot replicate. It is phenomenal what he does.
And Nanai scores tries in the back row.
Mate, incredible tries. So yeah, it's tough. I get the frustration, and I also like I can to a degree understand if you're the Cowboys. You're like, mate, we won the game. Like, let's just move on. Like, everyone keeps saying like our defense, but we finished sixth in one of the tightest years in the competition. We might finish fifth. Like, you can't expect us all to be Penrith Panthers.
Of course, they were playing a reserve grade team though.
No, but I understand that, but they're still going to finish fifth or sixth.
Oh yeah.
Like in the grand scale of things. Look at all these other teams that are going way, way worse. Like, so, I'd love to know what the Cowboys fans think. I'd love to know, like, where is your head at with the boys? Because, like, I love watching the Cowboys play. They're so exciting. And I genuinely believe they have the team on paper to win a competition. Like, I truly believe that. If they have good defense, they absolutely have pretty much better attack than anyone except for maybe the Roosters. And at times, they actually probably could out-attack the Roosters. It's just the defence they need to sort out. So, I don't know. Maybe they'll get it sorted by finals footy, but I just don't know whether they might be able to do it for one game, but can they do it for four?
Well, they haven't showed that.
So I don't know. I don't know. I hope they do. I really hope
they do. I love the Cowboys.
Yeah, I love the Cowboys. And as I said, like, I love Nanai as a player and I love Scotty Drinkwater as a player. They're bloody guns, but they just got to find a way to sort this defence out because they're never going to win a comp. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, it's either fix the defence or just be okay with not even coming close to winning a comp. And that's like, the thing is sometimes, like, when you're outside looking in as a fan, like, internally, it's kind of like, well, we can't all win a comp. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so every fan group says, I want my team to win a comp. And then their team comes like fourth or fifth. Like, as the team, you're like, bro, we still came fourth or fifth. Like, not everyone can win a comp. Like, you know, but like a lot of fans, they're sitting there going, it's either win a comp or it's nothing. It's shit otherwise.
Yeah. It's funny you say that because as a Rabbitohs fan, we made prelim after prelim after prelim and I hated it. I would kill to be in a prelim now.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So it's like, I know that sounds like a really easy out where I'm trying to give people, like, you know, the boys excuses and teams excuses, but like, you know, that's why I always talk about the Sharks. The Sharks are such an interesting team because I'm like, mate, look what they've done. And whereas people they just basically go, a lot of fans just go, can they win the comp? And you say, oh, probably not. And they go, well, fucking who gives a shit?
Yeah, they're shit.
They're shit then. And it's like, no, they're not actually shit at all. They're actually, it's actually incredible what they're achieving. Like, do you know how hard the NRL is? Like, do you know how hard it is to win the comp? So I hope they do, the Cowboys, because, as in, I hope they can fix that defence up because that's the exciting thing with the Cowboys. It's there.
Yeah.
The answer is right there for everyone to see. Like, matter of fact, you can make the argument the answer to win a comp is more obvious for the Cowboys than it is the Roosters. Because the Roosters, it's like, why? Like, why have you not been able to beat a top tier side for the last 3-4 years?
No one knows.
Literally no idea.
Yeah.
No one knows. Whereas the Cowboys, it's like screaming in front of your face, just sort your defence out.
Exactly. And like 2 point as well, when's the last time they had a prelim when their defence was so good?
Yeah, so hopefully they can. But look, they got the 2 points. They're finishing fifth or sixth. Like, it's pretty good, man. It is seriously pretty good.
Well, I didn't, at one point, I didn't think they were going to make the finals.
Well, I don't think we had them did we have them in our 8 this year? We'll have to go back and check that.
We'll have a look.
I can't wait to do this end of season accountability.
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
It's going to be fun. I mean, the Bulldogs is...
oh, that video is hilarious.
That's going to be a tough one. So, yeah, look, they got the job done. You know, Bellamy is known to do ambush teams with the younger side. But yeah, more definitely came out of it. I thought there was one play. Oh man, please get the footage up with this because this, for me, this is the most exciting thing I've seen in many weeks for a rookie. Okay, so there's 10 minutes to go. Lazarus, the big front rower, 10 minutes to go. Valentine Holmes catches the ball in their in-goal line, runs to the 20-metre mark, and Storm are scrambling to get back there. Guess who gets back there to make the tackle? Lazarus, front rower with 10 minutes to go, mind you. So he's played big minutes, whatever. He not only makes that tackle, he then scrambles again to make the next tackle. To see that in a young front rower as big as him, that is exciting. That is with that kind of attitude, you become one of the best front rowers in the competition.
Love that.
Because he has the physical attributes. He's a beast, an absolute beast. And the mentality, we've seen teams with players that play Origin that walk back to the 20. This is a young fella in the front row that's just sprinting to get back to the 20, and he makes 2 tackles in a row, which gives his team time enough to get back on side. So it's with 10 minutes to go, you get the footage. It's just seeing stuff like that. That is what the Storm is about.
Well, that's the stuff that Payne Haas does, right? Like he's played 80 minutes, and in the 79th minute, he's always the one chasing. He's always the one getting back there.
For sure, but more specifically, that's why the Storm can drop 11 of their players and still be competitive with a team that's in the top 8, is because they say, I don't care whether you're 18, 25, 28, when you put the Storm jersey on, that's the standard.
Yep.
That's the standard. I don't care whether in school you could score 3 tries, run for 300 metres, and you were the biggest man on the field and everyone was worshipping you. Means nothing. If you don't come here and do this, and that's why, and like Smithy said it before the game as well, a lot of people are just writing the Storm off. Just because they are not the starting side does not mean that the standard's going to drop for that squad. And it didn't. It didn't, because the reason why the Melbourne Storm have been great for as long as they've been great is they do not allow people to wear their jersey unless they are willing to live up to the standards. Whereas a lot of teams that are struggling is they allow players that are superstars or, up-and-coming superstars or young talents, they allow them to take shortcuts. You didn't do what was expected of you in the jersey. That's okay. You know what? We'll let that pass because you scored a couple tries. We'll let that pass because we're worried about losing you. The Storm don't do that. They say you either fit in or you fuck off. And that play right there from a guy, Lazarus, who would have been absolutely hailed as a gun. All through high school, he would have been told he's great. Gets down to the Melbourne Storm and says, you're only as good as the work you put in. And that play for me, I love that. As a front rower like that, 10 minutes to go, as a teenager or as a 21-year-old, a 20-year-old, scary. I cannot wait to see him develop into who he's going to be over the next couple of years, because physically, his attributes, incredible. And look at Wishart. There's not a single person here. Let's say you're a scout with Wishart and you watched him physically, his physical attributes. He doesn't look like, he's not like a Munster where you watch him play footy and you can see this magic. He's got magic in his hands. Like every step he has is an extra second, or every fend he puts out, it puts people off balance. Like you can see the magic in Munster's hands when he has it. Wishart, it's not apparently obvious what he has. Is he that fast? Is he that strong? But it's the Melbourne Storm that look at other things that we are just not seeing that can identify, yep, he's the man. He is the man going forward. There's no one that would have watched the preseason trials and said, you know what, Wishart is going to be one of the most improved. Whereas you watch a guy that has all the talent in the world come through and you just go, the first time you watch Reece Walsh, it's obvious for everyone to see how good he's going to be. Or whereas the Melbourne Storm, they always see things that the rest of us can't see. And that's Wishart. That's Wishart.
It's crazy. I really hope, back to your point before, that they keep him, because he'll thrive the best down there as well.
Look, he's played about 20 or 30 games. He's got plenty of time to build into the rest of his... Think about this. We're talking about a bloke that the Dragons couldn't find a place for him. That is how good the Storm system is, but also it's a reflection of how much that Wishart bought into the Storm system as well.
Yeah.
The Dragons had a gem in their hands and Wishart was sitting there going, I'm willing to give it to you, but they just didn't want it. They didn't want it. And look, I understand that was the old leadership at the Dragons, so I'm not having a crack. There's every club, like I just spoke about Reece Walsh, Broncos literally nearly lost him, so it's not talking about every club does it, but yeah, Wishart to the Storm, it's a masterstroke. He's only played 30 or 40 games. If I'm him, I'm staying there and play 150, play your 200 games, go get your big contract after that. Develop, Munster's, what do you reckon? Munster's got 2-3 more years?
Yeah, with his injuries, I guess. 2 or 3 more?
We'll see. Well, I don't see Munster as being playing until he's 37 or something like that.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
So there could be a spot for him there. They really could. But yeah, it'll be interesting. But Wishart, it was a Wishart show for me last night. Incredible stuff. Balmain, consider exit from West Tigers merger. Michael Chambers from the Sydney Morning Herald broke the news. apparently, like, this is just all different power players trying to create drama and all that kind of stuff. But what's bizarre with me is just like, what this is coming from a guy. So I didn't grow up with rugby league. So I don't know the history of like Balmain, West, all that kind of stuff. Like so I'm coming into it fresh-faced. And I just can't understand why, if you loved the club, why would you say something like this now?
So true.
And like already, the Balmain side of things, they've already come out and said this is like not true or whatever. Like basically said that this is not going to happen. Don't worry. But it's just like West Tigers have been on their knees for 20 years, and they finally look like they're getting the foundations to push on, and then just boom, out of nowhere. Like, and whether it's powers that used to be at the club that are pushing this or whatever, it's just like, why? What do you gain by doing this? Like, what about the fan base? What about the West Tigers fan base that continues to rock up, that has sellouts for a team that's won the spoon multiple years in a row? What about them? Is this what they need? Is this what the West Tigers fans need? The quotes in the paper about breaking away and destroying a club that they have truly supported, not just through thick and thin, just thin.
Yeah.
Just thin, the thin bit. And this is what they, like, I feel sorry for West Tigers fans. I really do. And they just deserve better. Like, I hope for the day where West and Balmain just finally just go, you know what? There is no difference. It's done. It's over, guys. We are not going to exist without each other, so we need to move forward. And I understand, because I don't know the history. There's fans sitting there going, mate, you don't get it. You don't get it. Like, there's 100 years of history or there's 50 years of history. I get that. But I tell you what, being split like this, you're going to stay in the same spot.
Yep.
It's going to be like this forever. So they either got to all get together, everyone's got to swallow their prides and egos and do what's best for the fans, for the club, not what's best for you. Like, just because if you're in a business and you think that you have the answers, but the majority are like, no, that's not the answer, then at some point you have to take a step back and go, all right, I disagree, but I'm going to get fully behind what the vision is. And I just don't understand why they don't do that at West Tigers.
Yeah, they don't do it. And as you said, like, the timing is just shocking. Like, why? No one was asking for this. No, and also it's coming from the Balmain side, which is not the strong side in this situation.
Just bizarre. I feel as I said, I feel sorry for West Tigers fans, Balmain fans, West fans. What I don't get, I don't get it because I didn't grow up in it, but it's kind of like that part of your life is over. Like, this is the only way users are in the NRL is together.
Yeah.
Because there is no way in hell we're having more Sydney teams here.
No.
So you got to move, you got to go together.
And like, they merged 25 years ago.
I know.
Like, that's a quarter of a century.
It's just,
Come on.
As I said, I'm uneducated on this. I'm uneducated, guys. So, like, I get this is a naive place I'm probably coming from. And I'm just thinking of the current West Tiger fan that has been just totally shut on for so long now. And the only way forward is if it's together. The only way.
Benny Elias, Balmain Tigers legend, he came out and blasted this chairman. So
it's good. You know what? Hopefully this can be the catalyst for the realization to go, guys, we're in this together now. Like, yep, I get it. We've both got different histories and all that stuff, but we're in this together now. And hopefully this weeds out the people that are causing this friction. Because
so unneeded.
West Tigers,
it's West Tigers.
It's the West Tigers.
West Tigers.
That's it. It's done. And the NRL is not going to fucking, like, what do you reckon? They're going to go, oh, yeah, you know what? Yep, split away, both of yous.
Yeah.
And then we'll bring, like, the ironic thing is that the NRL would almost jump at the chance to have one less Sydney team.
100% they would.
So why give them the ammo?
If the NRL started tomorrow, there'd be 2 or 3 Sydney teams.
Like, why give them the ammo needed? Like, it's just, and I know it's the West side, it's not coming from that. And also,
Balmain.
And also I know most of the Balmain side it's not. But you're basically giving them the bullets to kill you. Oh, here's the bullet to fucking end us. I still believe that the West Tigers are on a good direction. I really do. I think that They're still in the process of selecting the board again. So that's still happening. It's going to take time, but I do think that they look like they're in a much better position than they were a couple of years ago, in my opinion.
Oh, I agree. And it sucks. And I hope this is the last one we see.
This is the Balmain Tigers statement. In response to recent media reports, the Balmain Tigers Rugby League Football Club, make the following statement. The article written in the Sydney Morning Herald was not true and not the view of the Balmain board. The Balmain Tigers Rugby League Football Club is fully supportive of the ongoing relationship with our joint venture partners Holman Barnes Group and West Magpies. The Balmain board have a wonderful working relationship with the Holman Barnes Group and want nothing but sustained success with the West Tigers. But this was Balmain director and former Tigers player Gary Leo that said this. I really believe that time has come for us to step aside and resurrect the Balmain Tigers. We've got more of a following than the west side of the merger. To be honest, we have lost faith in them. We're getting Leichhardt Oval upgraded, and we could play there every second week if we can find the right backers. We want a shot at returning NRL. So the Balmain director, though.
Yeah.
So who's he? What he's a director of?
He'd be on just the Balmain board, and then the rest of the board would have been like, "What the hell are you talking about?"
Then how the article written in the was not true, and not the view of the Balmain board.
I guess this guy was just a lone wolf, and he's just gone out and spoke to Chamis.
Oh yeah, I'm more just like the Sydney Morning Herald was not true. Well, it was true. Like, there was a quote there.
There's a quote there. There's plenty of quotes there.
It's true that guy wants that.
Yeah, that particular guy wants it, but then they're probably all together being like, as a board, we don't. This is our official statement.
Yeah, so I mean, they probably could have worded that better. Of like, the Balmain board does not agree with these. You know, but not to be. It was true. It was there's a quote.
It was a quote. Yeah.
Then it's basically the Balmain side owns 10% of the West Tigers, with the other 90% owned by Holman Barnes Group, of which 30% is owned by the Western Suburbs Magpies. Holman Barnes Group acquired 15% of Balmain's previous share in 2019 when it agreed to pay off Balmain's $3.2 million debt to the NRL. So like the West have like kept this thing afloat.
Well, West have the money. They got the Leagues Club. They got all the juniors.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, what's funny is like West are probably sitting there going, mate, we could run this ourselves. Like, if you want to do this,
do it.
Do it. Because like we actually have the resources, the player catchment. Look, I understand from if I had to be just like purely looking at what maybe the other side is thinking, the Balmain side is like, because West have run it, haven't they? They've been the ones kind of making the decisions over the last few years.
Yeah, last few years, yeah.
So I could understand the frustration of, okay, yeah, they have the money, they have the juniors and that. I can understand like, yeah, but it's also been run really poorly. West have run it really poorly.
Yeah.
Because West Tigers has, from a financial perspective, it's been run well, but on field it hasn't been run great.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the West Tigers board, I'm just throwing up numbers here, is roughly like 4 mutuals and then 2 from one side and then 2 from the other side. So the decisions are kind of...
Tigers board or the West Tigers board?
So the West Tigers board has like...
4 mutuals and then 2 evens on each side.
Yeah. So the decisions are being made by all of them, I guess.
Maybe the Balmain feel that the mutuals lean more heavily towards the West.
Possibly, yeah.
All right, don't forget, use code Joe for $7 off Thai this week. Minimum spend $20. And don't forget, all 8 games are live and ad-free during play on KO. Some key games this week are Bulldogs vs Manly, Dolphins vs Broncos, Eels vs Dragons, exclusive to Fox League and available on KO. And as I said, guys, like I'm a newbie to I don't know the whole history between the splitting of the board and the merger. So like, I'm sure there is much more nuance to it, much more history, much more information. Just from the outside looking in, I just hope one day that it's no longer looked as a merger club. It's one. It's one. I know that's goes against human nature, but I hope that gets to the point. I really do. Now, the NRL 2024 edition of the Pacific Championship 2024 edition will see the introduction of promotion and relegation, with the winner of the men's and women's Pacific Bowls to play off against the third place Pacific nation for a place in their respective 2025 Cup. I love it. We talked about this last time.
That's exactly what you said, yeah.
I said there should be relegation.
Yeah, so I think last time when we spoke about it, I think just the New Zealand Rugby League released their draw, and then we kind of did some digging and found bits and pieces of the draw. But the official announcement was this morning. There'll be relegation and promotion. I don't know where that leaves Samoa, though, because they're playing England at the moment.
And Tonga played England last time.
Yeah, so I'm not too sure what happens there. I'm sure they'll explain it, but it's good. I like it.
See, that's weird. Because, so Samoa just have to play England every year?
Well, I hope that they make it a 4 nations type situation, and then
relegation.
Fiji, and then relegation from there. So then
Then who plays England?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't think about that one.
Or maybe England is the 4th nation. Sorry, maybe it goes Australia. What it should be is it should be Australia, New Zealand, England, and then the 4th one should be what relegates.
Yeah.
That would be good.
That would be good.
That would be actually fucking sick.
They'd have to change the name though, Pacific, if you include England, I guess. Either way,
I
don't give a fuck. I'd rather England.
call it Pacific Nation. It is the Pacific Cup, but they just come.
Yeah.
Who gives a shit?
I don't care. But yeah, I love it. I'm just interested to see how they fit them all in.
Yeah,
because it's a shame that we're not seeing Samoa. In my opinion,
I think it's a shame.
Yeah.
Samoa, oh my god, 100%. But I like the idea of relegation. I just wonder, how does that work when one of the teams plays England?
Yeah.
For example, what if I guess because if Samoa play this year and then Tonga lose and then Fiji win their one, so Fiji go in, so that means that Samoa have to just automatically go into the lower cup whilst Tonga goes over.
I guess, and that's why I thought hopefully they make it a 4 nations and Samoa can just walk straight back in, but I don't know.
Oh, well, at least the good thing is that we get some Pacific international footy at the end of the year. I do like that they're trying to, even though it seems like it's kind of being rushed together. I like that they're trying to have something yearly that can have history year on year.
Yeah.
That you're actually it's like a season, so you can actually follow it. Oh, we won it last year, and this team got relegated this year, and how we're going to turn out this year. Whereas I feel like for a period of years there, it was almost like each year was something different, and it really had. Every year, international footy was disconnected from the year before it.
Yeah,
there was no connection to it.
And I like it. It puts a greater emphasis on the lower tier one as well. Because imagine the scenes when they get promoted.
Yeah,
that's gonna be sick.
Absolutely. Alrighty, tips. Doggies, Manly.
Oh, can't wait. Dogs.
I'm gonna go Manly. Panthers, Rabbitohs.
Penrith.
Para, Dragons.
Dragons.
Yeah, Dragons. Dolphins, Broncos.
Broncos, but a close game.
Sharkies, Warriors.
Sharks.
Knights, Titans.
Knights.
Roosters, Raiders.
Roosters.
Wow, what a week.
It's a good week.
The Manly Bulldogs one I want.
I'm so keen for that game.
Just because it's going to tell me where each side is.
Apparently, it's going to be the biggest 6 p.m. Friday crowd of all time.
No way.
Yeah, they're tracking 30.
And a record Manly Bulldogs clash as well, I think, maybe.
Yeah, that sounds right, yeah.
But, it is going to show, are Bulldogs the real deal?
Yep.
Because, Manly is someone that they will play in the first week.
Yeah.
That's the standard of footy. And my big question with the Bulldogs is do they have the cattle to take that next step into finals footy intensity? Whereas Manly, the reason why I'm backing them is they have DCE, they have Tom Trbojevic, they have Jake Trbojevic. They know what it is to take that next step into finals footy. And I get it. They've got Critter. I get that. They've got Critter who's played, he's won premierships, all that, but just in key positions. And granted, I know the Doggies are missing Critter this week, which sucks, which is a bit of a damn it. But they have proven, the Bulldogs have proven they can win without Critter.
Well, their big win against Brisbane, Critter wasn't playing.
Yeah.
So...
And he's not in a key position. At the end of the day, he's playing centre. Even though he's a massive in, he's still playing centre.
Yeah.
So cannot wait. But head to bloke.shop, grab a spray jacket. Also, grab a case of Bloke beer from your local. The beer for blokes that turn up for family, mates, and good times. Aussie spirit in a can. And as usual, we'll go and fuck ourselves. Thank you.
What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.